Hello, everyone. All right, so I have not chosen the winners yet. So I'm going to go ahead and open up all comments, and whoever I am just drawn to is going to go ahead and get a reading. Okay, so first one is going to be Poe, um, just because I feel like it. Okay, so Poe, all I'm going to do is get your number one card, which is going to be what should you focus on right this moment? Okay. And its second one is going to be why is this so important? All right. And then now is how we're focusing on this help me at this time. All right. So more cards did want to come out. So I'm going to go ahead and let them be. Right. Because not wanting to control the flow of the cards, especially if you have more messages. Now, whenever I see this, they're showing me that a lot of your foundation is unsecure. It's to me, it feels like it's drifting away from you, and it does have to do with the relationships in your life. But what it seems to me is also kind of like the relationship with yourself. You're just letting yourself drift away. So if you realize that you've been kind of antsy, very hesitant, very indecisive, trying to like persuade yourself that it's gonna be okay, then this is exactly what you're feeling here. All right. And what you're supposed to initially do is kind of bring yourself up because you realize here that the Knave of Swords is in the downward position. What this is already showing me is that you're not wanting to fight yourself. You're not wanting to fight whatever's coming at you. So in other words, you're more prone to submit. But what they're showing me right now is you gotta kind of go against the grain, cut off what is lost, and just keep moving forward. Because if you continuously stay in this whole energy basis, you're going to continuously lose yourself. And what they keep showing me is yes, you're deserving of happiness. No, this is not supposed to be happening to you, this whole downward spiral. It's just not. But for some odd reason, it's just like you're allowing it to happen. Whether it's just because, you have life against you and they're just like, no, it's not exactly life, it's people. You allow them to influence so much of yourself that, again, this is where you give yourself away. You get less in return for any action you put out. And it can be as simple as, okay, I'm going to do some charity work. It should really, really be a good thing. But instead of you taking away from it, like, yeah, I'm doing a good thing, you're just like, oh, okay, that's nice for them. That's nice for them. And for some odd reason, you feel empty. This is because you're giving too much. Okay, so reel it back in and focus on you. Otherwise, if you keep being influenced by other people and whatever happiness they're supposed to generate for you, you're again going to be defeated. You're going to feel unwanted, unworthy. So that's why Spirit here is giving me these cards for you. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take these, put them back into the deck. Who is next? Alright, Sherry Weber. Alright, Sherry Weber. Okay, how am I doing? Alright, so let's focus on the right thing right now. What does Sherry Weber need to focus on right now? Okay, Sherry Weber needs to focus on that. Put that back there. Okay. Why is it so important that she focuses on this? Why is it so important that she focuses on this? Alright. And how we're focusing on this. Help her at this time. For Sherry Weber. Okay. Alright, hon. So what they're showing for me is expect the whole world against you. Expect to be indecisive. Expect to have it what feels like to be multiple options, but most of these options are all closed off. So it's kind of like one of those backwards policies. Now, whenever you're supposed to focus on this one thing, to me, you should be focusing on movement. And you're just like, no, 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 I've been focusing on movement. But the thing is that anytime I try to move somewhere, it's like I'm like bombarded with obstacles. You know, it's not the right time, not the right place, not the right situation. Okay, so in other words, you're increasingly frustrated at this point. That is completely, completely okay. Because what it's showing me here is that yes, it's not time to move, and that's because it is time for you to gain clarity on where you're going to move to, what you're going to decide. But again, this is where I go back to saying, hey, you have multiple options, but you keep trying to have a foot in every single option. In other words, keeping your options a little too available, a little too open. And what they're showing me on why is this so important right now is because you're not going to be able to go through. In other words, again, take a foot in every action, have a hand in every action. All right. And it's because you are very, very supposed to like pinpoint focus on one center point. Again, this is where you're trying to like kind of juggle it all, trying to like ultra prep yourself so that if one plan falls out, you have another one to back up on. But what Spirit is showing me here is that by having too many options available to you, it's like clouding your judgment and forcing this energy upon you from the universe that is going to like defeat you in every single which way you move. And that's why you're gonna have to like take a back step and be like, okay, let's just focus on one path and one path only. And it right now it doesn't feel like it matters which path you choose as long as you choose one. And it really does feel like that once you start going on a path, even if you go on the wrong one, you'll end up taking a detour to the right one. And that's why they're saying, hey, don't worry about, trying to have so much control, so much in hand, and a lot of different things. Focus on one. Now, for some odd reason, when I ask them how will focusing on this help me at this time, they do give me the Six of Swords. And then I kind of went into it more, just intuitively. And what they kept showing me is a cycle. In other words, this is something you've already been through, something that you've already dealt with, experienced, so on and so forth. The reason why it comes up as a cycle, and it's because it's like you've been in exact dispossession, like, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks ago, 6 months ago, 6 years ago. Regardless, it was the exact same situation. And with that being said, it's just like you're creating a downward spiral that has turned into a cycle. So it's just like, hey, anytime you go up in vibration, you're able to like you will always come down because of this cycle. And the cycle is meant to bring you down so that you can escape it. In other words, deal with it a different way. Because as of right here, it's all fear based. And right here, there's for some odd reason they're just telling me, hey, you do need to let go of expectations, the masculine essence that is within you, because you got to think this is a masculine card, but whenever I scan you, they're just like, no, feminine nature, which means you do need to nurture yourself and pull yourself up, start complimenting yourself, because even though I'm telling you, they don't even want me to use the definition of this card alone, because what they're showing me is going to be both. To me, it's like codependence on others, but codependence on self, and it really like fogs up your mind. Okay, and that's where you're just like, okay, should I follow everybody else and do what everybody else is doing because apparently it's working for them, but anytime I do it, it doesn't work. And then you're just like, no, screw this, I'm gonna do it all by myself. And then even doing it all by yourself isn't working. So you're just like, well, which way do I go? What do I do? To me, it's simple. You're gonna have to stop fighting the common cause and start just walking slowly. Okay? The reason why you will walk slowly is because, for one, you're not gonna have so much on your plate. In other words, there's a lot on your plate that you need to get rid of. For two, whenever you start walking slower, things are just going to give you more clarity. You're going to see, bridges that you never saw before being possible, doors that you never even would consider, being even slightly open, because that is going to be your new opportunity. And you're overlooking these things because of, again, fear and inability to move. Okay, so that is going to be your reading. Fun. Now we're going to go ahead and scroll back up to the top, and I have Nikki Michelle Smith. All right, so I'm going to get these. And for Nikki, right? That was your name? Nikki Smith? Smith. Sorry, guys. I'm really, really horrible with names. I try to do better. Oh, I lost your name. I lost your name. Right, Nikki. Yeah. Nikki Nicole Smith. Nikki Nicole Smith. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and give you what you should focus on right now. They're telling you this one. Why is it so important that you focus on this? Why is it so important that you focus on this? Alright. And it's going to be how will focusing on this help me at this time? How will focusing help her at this time? So Nikki, Michelle, ooh. I don't think they want to give you another card, doll. Alright, how will focusing on this help her at this time? There we go. Ah, that's why. They're just like, hold on. Should I give her another card? I want to just see if another card pops. No, you see? I even tried to change it, and they just gave me an equal card. All right? But I tried to change your fate, honey. I just did. I tried so hard. All right, hon. So, focusing on this right now is going to be your three of coins. Now, in this spread, what this speaks of is going to be community growth and evolution. This means that whatever you are doing, you do have to do for the benefit of yourself and others. This does mean working hard, but also expecting hard work to be contributed within the overall factor. So think of a family, everybody has to do their chores, everybody has to do something to add to the organization, which is going to be, the family environment, Now, think of a workshop, an assembly line. Everybody has their job. If someone doesn't do their job, then guess what? The whole project itself is less than what's expected. All right. And that's kind of where you're meeting a downfall, because why is this so important? It's important because you're losing a lot of yourself by getting so worked up and overwhelmed. Now, what they show me is that you do not believe that you're enough or doing enough, and that is completely okay. Now, whenever I ask them, okay, so what is not being done enough? And they keep showing me that you keep going to the shadows. In other words, there are emotions and fears that you're just not wanting to face at this time. Okay? And anytime you try facing them, or even people dealing with the situation, you kind of like put yourself on the defense. You're, for some odd reason, like this shock factor of being caught off guard, and it's kind of like someone just asking you, hey, are you okay? And immediately you're just like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, why do you need to know? Like, no, no, no. Like, I understand that there are people out there that are just kind of wanting to use like whatever weak flavor you are or weak characteristic and kind of use it against you, or even like just a mistake. People do try to take advantage. I do feel like this is something that has been done, but it kind of has triggered you in a sense of you not wanting to trust others. And that's why it's so important. Now, whenever they ask, how will focusing on this help me at this time? With you, again, this is where I got Knight of Coins reverse, Knight of Swords reverse. And both are telling me that you're not hoping to become better from it. You're not hoping to do anything to like reverse the effects. In other words, this is going to be your trauma point. This is something that you're going to have to deal with. And it's going to start with, understanding that not everybody is going to try to take advantage of you. Not everybody is trying to take away from you. Because there are going to be a lot of moments in your life, particularly, that you are going to need community service. Okay, where you service other individuals, by doing a favor or, just doing a job of what it feels like, and they in turn are supposed to do the exact same thing. So there's that team environment. Now, if you decide to go the solo route, and I do believe they're talking about careers right now, then it is going to be a little frustrating because you're going to start going more and more into yourself, into a shell. Whenever you do this, hon, what it's ultimately going to do is it's going to make you feel more isolated. Okay, it's going to make you feel lonely. It's going to make you feel dreadful. Okay, so if you've realized lately that you're feeling like fatigued, feeling like, I don't know, being in the dark, this does not mean like being in the dark about information. It really does mean being in the dark. So if you're like more drawn to dark spaces just because you're just like, I need to like sleep, or I rather just stay in my home or my room, or anywhere that is solo. You're just like, this is just where I need to be, not rather where you should be. Do you understand? This is going to be like a belief preference, because your belief is not going to be reality, because your reality basis literally does state that you do need to work as a team member. And this is just for future speaking. It has nothing to do with anything that is here. Because whenever I read you into the future, they're showing me like they show me you always sailing away, sailing away from shoreline where there's a foundation. And this is even with people that you trust. You're always going to try to like cut them short or wedge them out a little bit, push them out a little bit, be that distance. And it's just because you always want to be on guard. This is not going to be a healthy coping mechanism, and I know that it works for now. So in the future, your whole job for this one thing spread is to get rid of that barrier and reconnect with other individuals around you, because it's like you want to fight them but you can't. You want to participate but you can't. And it's just all to do with fear factor. Okay, hon? All right. So scrolling down. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do Taz. Got my cards here. All right. For Taz. Taz, 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 Taz. What should Taz focus on? What one thing should Taz focus on? Oh, I think I accidentally put my business cards right in the middle of my reading. Okay. Okay, so Taz, what should Taz be focusing on right now? There we go. Hold on. Cards are trying to come out. So now they're trying to fall through the floor. Come on, no, come on. This thing changing of energy is good. Alright, so that's what you should be focusing on right now. Why is this so important? So we're doing a shuffling for why is this so important? And how will focusing on this help me at this time? How will focusing? All right. Sorry, in the middle of shuffling, that one just kept trying to pull itself out. And I'm like, no, I need another shuffle. Obviously, the cards did not agree. All right, so Kaz, for you, focusing on this one thing right now, what this is feeling is it's going to be between betrayal of self, but betrayal with others. And what you have come to know and kind of be shown is that a lot of what you do is better left done by yourself. Okay, and they're showing me that you have a very philosophical way of thinking and being. And that anytime you adapt your emotions into your way of thinking, you do have a very intense, high, intuitive nature about yourself. With that being said, it's just like the more you carry on the burdens of the past, that is what's going to hinder your growth as an individual. Yes, it is okay to hold on to them just as kind of like they evolve. In other words, you've been there, done that, now you're ready to thrive and evolve up. But you're kind of like stuck in the middle of, yes, I want to be like that source of reason of, kind of like that survival. This is what I need to do to survive. And kind of being torn to being stuck in the middle of being able to be bigger, like be a part of something bigger. Okay. So there's going to be, a tug of heartstrings. There's going to be a lot of indecisiveness, a lot of a clouded judgment and moments ahead for you. And this is only because of where you're placed right now. Because again, this is where inner you wants to evolve. Inner you is just like, no, 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 I'm ready to take the next step, ready to take the plunge. But for some odd reason, you keep hesitating. You keep stopping yourself from evolving. Now, whenever I look at this, in definitely an intuitive factor, they're showing me that it's going to be a spiral moment for you. Whether you go up or down, it's merely going to be on you. But understand, if you go down, then you're going to lean into resentment. Okay, you're going to think about your mistakes. You're going to have what I call psychic attacks. Okay, and it's because whenever you go down a downward spiral, you actually start to vibrate lower because you are indeed a spiritual being. Whenever a very, very intense spiritual being starts to go in either direction, up or down, it's kind of like they start to manifest exactly what that is. Now, if you're being tested, it's one thing, because if you're rising up, of course, negative entities don't want you to go up. They'll try to challenge you, but guess what? We as individuals have the ability to fight and go up anyway. Now, if you go downward, then that's exactly what you'll attract. You'll attract blockness. You'll attract very, very shady individuals that kind of have the devil's energy, which they promise a lot, but there's a whole lot of small lettering in the contract. Okay, in other words, what seems like a really, really great thing turns out to not be truly worth it in the end, even if it's exactly what is said. Okay, just for example, um, let's just say that you were guaranteed a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. What you did not realize is that this pot of gold can never be spent. Yes, it's yours to claim, but anytime you try to spend it, bad luck happens to you. Okay, so there's that very, very weird karmatic thing of, yes, it was written in stone, but it just doesn't fit what your expectations are. Okay, and it's really, really unfair to you. Now, if you were to go down the spiral, like I said, like how do you say, psychic attacks. Okay, this is going to be like dream state. It's going to be lower world, but it's also going to be, just that. You're going to feel droopy. You're going to feel like even with 13 hours of rest, you will still feel sluggish and very, very, in a word, happy. Now, if you were to go up, the psychic attacks won't be bad, but as soon as you kind of like thrive up anyway, it'll go away. It'll stop. You'll feel great, amazing. But if you go down, understand you're going to be prone to just go inside. It's kind of like having the numerology life path number 7. Very, very independent, very, very lone wolf mentality. But if you thrive up, and that's exactly where you're going, is up. But like I said, this is where you're hindering yourself. You're just like, do I need to go this way? Should I do this? No, no, no. Why not just go with the flow, though? Like, why not? Because what I'm being shown here is that if you go with the flow, guess what? Yes, it's the unknown. Yes, you'll meet people. Yes, you'll lose. To me, it's like a whole lot of death moments. You know, this is going to be like the tarot death card. You're going to have a whole bunch of endings, and you're just like, what? Why did that happen? Why did that person leave my life? Why did this end for me? In other words, like, just think about different opportunities in your life. Okay, let's just say you're trying to start a business, and Spirit's like, no, not that. Do something else. Even though what Spirit says is way less successful or will be less successful in the future or has a way harder, I don't know, it's like prediction rate. Spirit's like, no, 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 just follow me, follow me. And like I said, you have a very, very high intuitive nature, so you're going to have to use it for now in this spread, but also in a lot of areas of your life. Okay, so that is why focusing on this is going to help you at this time. Because to me, this feels like not, it feels like this is the reason why you need to focus on this. Okay, and it's because you need to come here. And if like I said, it just feels like you're in transition from one energy to the other. All right. All right, guys. So that is going to be the end of the spread. I hope y'all enjoyed. Have a nice day, and don't forget to like, follow, and share. Bye bye.